Instead of generating personal wealth, instead of money becoming an end goal in itself, it becomes a means to an end for you. In absolute terms, if the S&P 500 companies had grown 106%, these companies had grown 1026%. Three rules of success: purpose, thoughts, and action. Align them. Learn to look at the larger picture and join the dots because life is not linear. So when my name is announced and I go on stage, everything is familiar. Now, the external stimulus which comes in is transmitted to two parts of our brain, the emotional brain and the prefrontal cortex. You'll be surprised, India has never lost a war historically. We have been captured. We have been captured and ruled by the invaders through deceit. Someone within our own family betrayed us.
Hi everyone, this is Vivek Srivastav. Welcome to my channel. And today we have a special guest episode. We have Dr. Sandeep Amar Guppta with us today. And Sandeep is a leadership coach, a human excellence strategist, and the creator of the S.H.E framework for transformation. He has had over 40 years experience helping leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals achieve their highest potential using a combination of spirituality, human potential, and economics. He has spoken at Oxford University, taught at BITS Pilani, and has worked with various organizations to help people achieve their ultimate potential. So we'll get into all of this with him. Thank you very much for joining us, Sandeep.
Well, thank you, Vivek. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I was excited from the time you invited me.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this. I think our viewers will get a lot of valuable information, particularly, those struggling with any sort of, blockages or obstacles that they themselves might be creating mentally for themselves.
Well, yes, that's the problem with humans. We create a lot of roadblocks for ourselves. And this is the reason, I love working in the space of human excellence.
Wonderful. So, I myself have, in my experience both in India, US, particularly US, I've worked with various transformation coaches, life coaches type people. Some used NLP, some used hypnosis, some had a spiritual process, you could say. Tell us about what you do.
Okay, you talked of all these things. Look, when we look at the human ecosystem, one is the action we take. The action at the next level below it is the pattern, which we call the habits. These habits come out of a structure which we create internally, and the structures are through our compulsions and drivers, or what it should be. What I've seen in my practice for the last 40 plus years, usually following level 2 or level 3. I try to go to the drivers so that real transformation happens. And look, transformation is something to stay. A change is temporary, transformation is not temporary. And in case you want to transform a tree, where do you need to work? At the roots. Only then transformation happens. Similarly, in human beings, I love to work at the roots and I work at the roots.
Wonderful. We'll get into all of that, but I'm curious. I think you started off first with being an accountant in the world of accountancy. So, how did you get into this world of personal transformation, personal excellence?
Okay. I did my CA way back in 79.
Okay.
We didn't have very many options, 4 or 5 options that time. Our knowledge base was very low, awareness levels were low. Everyone was becoming a CA. So did I. And after 3 years of training, qualifying the exams, the day the result came, I asked myself one question: why the hell have you become a chartered accountant? Because you see, the ordinary taxation, traditional practice of audit, didn't enamor me, didn't excite me.
Right.
So that is the time I decided to get into organization development.
Nice.
And I started working in the field of OD, organization development. उसके बाद क्या हुआ? You see, within 2-3 years, I realized one thing. You know, God was merciful. I had the best of clients. Obviously, I was a junior with someone, but had the opportunity to work with the best of people. And what I realized that the best of resources, the best of intelligence, the best of strategies, the best of planning, despite all this, the project would still fail.
Yes. Exactly. I was just going to
Right.
comment something like that because I've done something a bit similar, if I may uh, chime in a little bit. I was in the world of IT in the US, and what I wanted to do, what I felt a little bit of passion for was to get into exactly that, but in the specific to IT. So, streamlining the processes. To that end, became a Six Sigma Black Belt, got the project management professional certification, the various other certifications, CMMI, and then I went in there and tried to say, okay, this is what you're doing that's inefficient, just change this. Nobody was interested. And I was considered almost an enemy, almost. People like hated me, and I was trying to make everyone's lives better. So I was wondering if you ran into stuff like that during your.
Oh, the very first, I was a young chap of 24 years. Here I go to this company.
Huh.
The chap looks at me, a white haired guy. What will you teach me? I've been sitting on this chair for 35 years. So that happens.
Right.
So that is the time I realized that people are being taught what to think. They're not being taught how to think. Because the early 80s were the time, when management consultancy was growing world over, right? And people would say, okay, you are in the finance field, you got to wear a suit, you got to have a cross pen, you got to walk this way, talk this way. And till the time it was scripted, everything fell within the script, they were excellent. But when anything fell out of the script, they were at a loss. The way we, contact the customer care people these days, till the time everything is within the script, their answers are perfect. And the moment you go beyond the script, you find them fumbling.
Right. And they transfer your call to someone else.
And they transfer your call to someone else. This is exactly, what I realized that this is happening with them. So from standing in front of them, I went and stood behind them.
Okay.
Guy, the world is yours. I'll help you to think better. When you think better, you'll decide better. When you decide better, you'll execute better. And when you'll execute better, obviously the success quotient would go up.
But wouldn't people be even resistant to that? For example, that white-haired person you spoke about who said, I've been in this chair 30 years, he probably wasn't even interested in you helping him think even, right? So how do you convince someone like that?
Well, the world is very big,
right?
You got to keep going at it. Whenever something new is there, there's going to be resistance. And one or two odd people would come and say, hey, let me try. And if it's successful, they become your ambassadors. And this is exactly what happened with me.
Right.
I created ambassadors. It took time.
Yes.
But slowly and gradually it grew.
Okay.
So, and am I coming? Might say shifting from this traditional CA thing to what I do today. For 40 years, I was quite disturbed. Why the hell did I do CA? Today, when I look back, I thank my stars that I did CA. Because CA gave me the insight into the economics, the commerce, and my personal passion, reflexive drivers of spirituality and philosophy. I could combine them together. And I believe spirituality and economics are the two pillars, which drive our life and which give meaning and purpose to our life.
I had a question about that, but even before that question, tell us about your spirituality during your younger days. Were you all came from a very spiritual family, and did you?
Well, yes, I came from a highly spiritual mother who was born and brought up in a spiritual environment. And to the audience, I would like to say one thing that look, spirituality and religion are two different things.
Yes.
Don't mix them up.
Yes.
I'm talking of spirituality. And my father, though he worked for the government of India in the revenue department, he was highly philosophical. So probably philosophy and spirituality got into my DNA, which came to me reflexively.
Nice. But probably I think just the environment, the Gharka environment, that influenced you during your
Oh,
younger
obviously,
days.
obviously it does. Your mirror neurons,
Yeah.
they keep working.
Right. And I think from what I know, the first 8 years are when your formative stuff happens psychologically. Your first 8 years of your life form you psychologically, and then after that, it's the change can happen obviously, but it's more difficult to change once those first 8 years happen. But I could be wrong with that.
Oh, well, what you say is right. But I believe that as we grow up, or our growing is driven by nurture and nature. It's a combination of both. Because certain drivers come by nature, and if you keep the Indian philosophy in mind, the Karam theory, right? So when the soul
Right.
migrates,
Right.
so it carries with it
Right.
certain
Some
things.
people are just born a certain way.
Some people are just born this some way, and yes, but that's not the end all. The nurturing part, the environment in which you grow up, also plays a very important thing. Because that is like the cement. It cements certain things, it alters certain things, it changes certain things. Because all of us have got the ability to think of our thinking and keep revising and growing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, how do you reconcile spirituality and economics? Because for most people, and even if you look at it from ancient times, people would give up their wealth and whatever and become a sadhu, right? So there's always sort of been this incompatibility between money and spirituality. Uh, and I think obviously times are changing now. People feel you can have both, do both. But probably in the Indian mindset, that's still pretty solid. That this thing. So, what do you have to say about that?
Vivek, you see, that's a myth, what you're talking about.
Right.
The Indian philosophy, the Indian mindset always promoted spirituality and economics together.
Okay.
Okay, the sadhus you're talking of went to the forest by their choice. They didn't reject anything. The four principles, Purusharth, the four Purusharths, they're the four goals of life. What are they? In the Indian mindsets, 5,000 years back?
I
Okay.
don't
Let
remind me.
let me explain. Okay. Number one, fulfill your desires. Come. Now, when you go out to fulfill your desires, what happens? You need money.
Yeah.
Number two, generate wealth. That's a goal of life. Number three, now when you generate wealth, what happens? With money comes the ability to control and exploit the others or try to manage others.
Sure.
So they said, okay, the third principle is righteous living, dharma, so that you do not exploit others. And the fourth principle, when can you practice dharma, that is righteous living, which they call nirvana, right? Liberation. Liberation of what? Not liberation from the cycle of life and death as talked about. Liberation from the five evils of the mind: anger, attachment, greed, ego, and the fifth one. That just slipped my mind. Will come and I'll just
Sure.
share it with you.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say,
Basically, control over the mastery of the mind.
these five things,
Yeah.
right? Once you get rid of them, you start living the righteous life. When you are living a righteous life, irrespective of the money doesn't go to your head. Well, the fifth was the ego.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't go to your head. So instead of generating personal wealth, instead of money becoming an end goal in itself, it becomes a means to an end for you. And when it becomes a means to an end for you, so what are you doing? You're becoming more inclusive. You're helping others. Gratitude comes into play. An entire vicious cycle gets created where by righteous living, which is a product of spirituality, helps you to earn more. You're
Right.
earning more, you're helping more people, and
Right.
they're helping you
Right.
to do more service
Right.
by making you earn more.
Right.
So both complement each other and they grow.
Right.
And what I'm talking about is 5,000 years ago in the Indian system. Okay, now let me fast forward. Come to present day, 21st century.
Sure.
Raj Sisodia, ex Wharton, right? He did a research. He selected 60 organizations, global organizations, which are traded on the stock exchange. Now, these were those organizations who had love, mutuality, and larger good of society as the pivot of their business strategies. And you know what did he find? He found that these of 60 organizations had outpaced the S&P 500 average over a period of 10 years by 10x. So look, it was never either or. It has always been and. And these 60 companies were those companies which used love, mutuality, larger good of society, right, as the pivot of their business strategies. And when he compared their financial growth with the S&P 500 average over a period of 10 years, he was surprised to find that these companies had grown 10x. In absolute terms, if the S&P 500 companies had grown 106%, these companies had grown 1026%. So look, Vivek, neither today nor yesteryears, it was a matter of this or that. It was a matter of and. It's only we have created the either or myth.
So the third component in your framework is the human potential, right?
Yes.
So what can you say about human potential? Uh, how would you define it? Why are some people less achieve less, others more? I mean, they some achieve a fraction of their potential, some achieve more
Okay.
of their potential. What's
It's a loaded question. Vivek, there are three questions in one question, okay?
well, take your time with the answer.
You see, to understand why do some achieve more, some achieve less, let me simplify the entire thing. And let's go to the human ecosystem,
Sure.
the dynamics of the human ecosystem. Would you agree with me if I say soul, mind, and body are the three planes at which we live?
Sure.
Okay? Now let's talk of these three.
Sure.
Now let me give you an example. This is the soul, this is the mind, and this is the body. We work efficiently and effectively when all the three are aligned and are healthy. If I remove the soul from this equation, what happens? We die.
Right.
Let's bring the soul back. We are alive again. Now we remove the mind from this equation.
You go insane.
Well, we don't go insane, we go into a coma.
Okay. Right.
We are breathing.
We are still alive, but yeah.
We are still alive, but incapable of thinking and acting. So, what does it establish? The soul gives life to the mind and the body,
Okay.
and the the mind gives instructions to the body to think and act. Let's get the mind back. And now I remove the body. We don't exist.
We are like a ghost, maybe.
But we just don't exist because The soul and the mind require a body to function on this plane, physical plane. The attributes of the soul are love, mutuality, wisdom, intelligence, refulgence, etc., etc. The human values, you can say. The body has to survive at any cost so that the soul and mind can function. So the attributes of the body are selfish. The body only knows three things: organic survival at any cost, organic satisfaction at any cost, and organic multiplication at any cost. Now, the mind is called the field of duality. Why? Though it has got powers to think about your thinking, be aware of your awareness, to give you the experience, subjective experience, right? And like a spiral, it goes up and you keep on improving, but it does not have attributes on its own. It is influenced by the soul and the body. It keeps on oscillating between the two, and the reflexive reaction is selfishness.
Okay.
Now, we can break through this selfishness and we can slowly and gradually reduce the oscillation of the mind and start positioning it towards the soul. And that's a spectrum. All of us are standing at different stations over there.
So I had a question about that. Someone whose mind is very close to the body, what characteristics, what behavior will he display as opposed to someone who's closer to the soul? His mind
I mean, my at any cost
is the body one.
is the body one. We are us is the soul one, right?
So there's more selfishness, less selfishness,
No, absolute selflessness.
selflessness.
And we got to strike a balance
Right.
because certain element of selfishness is required
Right.
to survive.
Practical
we-
necessities.
Right. But now the question is discretion. We also got to develop the discretion so you could decide on that line. And there are various tools to do that, and very simple tools. It doesn't take time,
Okay.
right? Now, most of the people fail at establishing the discretion. They'll land up justifying.
I would say most people are just randomly wherever they are, and they're not even kind of giving it much thought. They are probably not even aware of this model that you're describing, or this process of mind, body, soul. They're just kind of living their lives and not even aware of their behavior really even.
You see, had you said this thing 10 years back or 20 years back, I would have agreed wholeheartedly.
Okay. Well, what do you say now then?
Today, awareness is growing.
Sure, yeah, it's growing.
Awareness is growing for the
Yeah.
simple reason, you see. What happened in the 20th century? The 20th century, the industrial era, flourished on physics, on the principles of physics. Now, physics is the science of the five senses.
Sure.
Now, since spirituality values love, all these things, consciousness, are beyond the five senses, they are not visible. So, all these things got thrown out of the window. And the entire human focus was on money and materialism.
Yeah.
The repercussions were felt towards the end of the 20th century. Enron, scams, anarchy, riots, terrorism.
Sure.
Now, these are all acts of selfishness. So, like I usually say, when the inner world, that is the world of our values, grows without a support from the external world, we become lame ducks. Anyone can come and kick us. And when our external world grows without the support of our inner world, we are man eaters on the prowl. Okay, the saint and the devil, the saint and the Saturn,
Right.
realm, which
Right.
often we talk about. Now, the question is, if you strike a balance, using your discretion. You function selfishly, at the same time, you start looking for the larger good.
I had a question about this. Let's say I do strike my balance,
Yeah.
but uh, right now I'm talking to someone who is very much in this selfish side. So, and then later on, I'm talking to someone who's very much on the saint side, So, what would I have to do to deal with them? Because with this guy, I have to probably, the selfish person, I have to be kind of strong and maybe even just de- do whatever needs to be done to deal with him so that he doesn't eat me up, to use your man eating phrase. And then, of course, with the selfless one, I'd just be much more respectful, whatever, guard down, so to speak. So, what do you think of that? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I myself need to oscillate as the situation demands, or is that not right?
No. Uh, now let me take you to yourself over the last 25 hours or 24 hours. Okay?
Okay.
If you really map your thought process
Yeah.
and actions, you might find and you will find that there were certain moments where you were highly selfish,
Okay.
right?
Well, it's more selfish than.
Or more.
I don't know, but highly selfish.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's dramatizing the entire thing. You were
Sure.
You're more selfish.
I'm kidding.
More selfish. And there were certain moments where you were absolutely selfless.
Sure.
Why this inconsistency?
Just the lack of the mental sort of awareness and stabilize. How do I put it? Awareness of this whole thing. Really, I'm just kind of randomly going about my life without this.
The reason is when this oscillation is taking place constantly,
Right.
when the stimulus came in,
Right.
if it was towards the body,
Right. Okay.
right,
Yeah.
you reacted selfishly.
Okay. Yeah.
And when it was towards the soul, you reacted
Selflessly.
selflessly. And when you start analyzing, because analysis,
So that's my question only. My original question was that only
Yes.
because these people are basically external stimuli.
Yeah.
So, and believe me, in my life, 30 years in the US and all, I've met some extremely selfish people. And so, dealing with them, I found myself having to kind of be in that mode, you could say, just to get rid of them, or deal with them so that I can get away from them, you could say, without some damage happening to me. You know what
No,
I mean?
you see, we got to be practical,
Yeah.
honestly. And these kind of transformations, they happen quickly, but over a period of time.
Sure.
And quite a few things go in. Self-realization is a very important thing. Now, I just take forward my example.
Sure.
Now, if you really analyze where you were more selfless,
Okay.
and you find that, okay, the guy cheated you of $25,000 and still you didn't create any scene, you said, okay, fine, we'll look at it, he might be needing it, and you forgave the guy. On the other hand, where you were all angry and up in arms, it was just a matter of $10.
Right.
Okay, so obviously your discretion was not working at that point of time.
Right.
There was another influence which was working on you.
Sandeep, that was fascinating. But tell me now about this framework you've developed, the S.H.E framework, and how that helps people.
Okay, now I'll take you back to 1983, 83, 84, when I shifted to Delhi from Bombay. I started working. And what happened? I was damn bloody successful. I was earning 30,000, 40,000 rupees a month that time, and that was very big money.
Yeah.
Come 90s. What happened? All my work has gone. And for 12 years, I struggled to make my ends meet.
No, you're talking about the organizational design work, is what you're talking
No, I'm talking of my professional existence.
Okay.
I'm talking of my existence.
Okay.
For 12 years, I was a financial broke.
Okay.
I was a spiritual broke.
Okay.
I was an emotional broke and a physical broke.
Oh, boy.
And I did everything which I should not have done, right? And despite all my efforts, I could not make both ends meet. A situation came. I was so frustrated with life. I go to my guru and say, "Sir, hands up, I'm going." So he looked at me, said, "Well, you want to commit suicide? Go ahead and commit suicide. I'll say it's a foolish decision, but the decision is going to be yours. And you do not get the human frame that easily,
The reincarnation is
the
involved.
reincarnation body." And that shook me. Probably I was, looking for some compassion
Right.
from him, and I got none. On the contrary, I got a slap.
Right.
Soon, three things emerged. Three rules of success. Number one, align your purpose, thoughts, and action. Purpose, thoughts, and action. Align them. Number two, learn to look at the larger picture and join the dots because life is not linear. And number three, operate out of humility and compassion because you can do nothing alone. So I started applying these three principles to my life, and my life started changing. And as it changed, I started going deeper into myself. I soon realized that we live at two levels, the inner level and the outer level, which I did mention briefly earlier, right? And both the worlds of ours, the inner and the outer, both the dimensions need to align and speak to each other because both influence each other. What is that internal world of ours? That is the spiritual world, the world of the spirit, which gives life to the mind and body. What is the external world? The external world is the physical world where you and I are sitting. We are recording this podcast. We have been acting. You have been working in US, earning money, coming to India. This is all physical. Now the internal world, drives the external world. If you've got a lot of anger inside you, you will manifest the anger in the outer world. If you've got a lot of love inside you, you'll manifest the same in the outer world. So this is the equation. So how do you start living by the dictates of the spirit? That is, move from selfishness to selflessness. That is the spirituality, and you need to take action at the human level because you've got to train your mind. Okay, so spirituality is there, external world is there. Spirituality gives you the purpose of life, gives you the values of life. The external world gives you the money which you need to survive and quench your thirst. And how do you bring them together? By working on yourself, by training your mind to listen more to the spirit rather than the body.
So how does one do that?
Your question was, how do we do that? Okay. I usually suggest remember the word phases. Okay. F standing for flexibility, A standing for adaptability, C standing for cohesiveness, E standing for energy, and S standing for stability. Try to bring phases in your purpose, thoughts, and actions. So the rigid molds are broken and you open yourself out. Number two, walk the path of meditation. Now, meditation is not sitting at one place and closing your eyes and trying to achieve nirvana, which people do. No, it's a journey, it's a process. It starts with mindfulness. Mindfulness being present in the moment. Can you do anything without being present in the moment?
Not really, no.
You just can't do anything.
But what problem people do is they're in the moment for that short, small amount of time, then they start going to the past or future.
I'll come to that.
Right.
I'll come to that. How do you handle that?
Sure.
Okay. So, first thing is be in the moment. That is mindfulness. When you're in the moment, what happens? Your focus develops. When your focus develops, what happens? It translates into concentration. And when it translates into concentration, it leads to absorption in that event or activity. Why, how come a dancer can dance for 3 hours non-stop? After all, she's a human or he's a human. Because they are so absorbed in that moment.
So that was all very interesting, Sandeep. But what? Tell us a little bit more about the your S.H.E framework and how that helps people.
S.H.E. Okay. S stands for spiritual dynamics, H stands for human potential, and E stands for economic strategies. Since the 4th century, there's been a myth that it is either or. The truth is, it is not either or. It is and. And the reason is very simple. We live in two worlds simultaneously, the inner world of our values, love, aspirations, dreams, and the outer world in which we are born, we act, we grow, we achieve, and we die. Now, the inner world directly drives the outer world. For example, if you got a lot of anger inside you, can you be happy in the outer world? No. The anger will manifest and overshadow everything you do. Your thoughts, your actions, your belief systems, etc. etc. Similarly, if you're very happy, you cannot be angry on the outer world. Now we need the spiritual dynamics, to find our purpose, to find our values, to find our ethics by which we want to live. Can you live without love? No, you can't. Can you live in a highly unethical society?
Be tough. Maybe you could survive, but it'd be
No.
very difficult.
Even the group of highly unethical people have an element of ethics within their group.
Honor among thieves. Right.
You see, the definition of ethics might be different,
Right.
but that's the common factor.
Right.
Dharma, righteous living. Righteous living is the principle which cements men to men and creates societies. Like if you have a ton of bricks, cement, do they constitute a house? No. It's only when one brick is placed on top of the other and cement is placed between the two bricks and they're stuck together, a house comes into shape. That is dharma. That is your spirituality aspect. To survive in the outer world, you need money. Okay? Now, these are two forces which seemingly are very opposed to each other. One internal, invisible, the other external, visible, in the physical domain. And both are needed by us. Can you survive without money? You cannot. Can you live without ethics? You cannot. Can you live without love? You cannot. Can you live without clothes, foods, financial security? No, you cannot. So nature has given us the power to bring them together. So this She framework focuses on helping people to bring their spirituality and their money requirements together, so both the domains or dimensions of human life, they flourish together. Spirituality does not demand any sacrifice. On the contrary, it says, you want to earn money? Take me along with you, I'll make you earn 10x money. Okay. Now your question could be human potential. You see, if you recall, I talked of the human framework, 3 levels, right? The body being highly selfish, the soul being selfless, we needing to strike a balance in between. So when you strike a balance and you do certain practices, for example, faces, you bring flexibility, adaptability, coherence, energy, and stability in your purpose, thoughts, and actions. You get down to using meditation, not the way it is being touted today or marketed today.
Right.
It's a journey, starting with mindfulness, being present in the moment. When you're present in the moment, it leads to focus. When you develop focus, develop the ability of sustained focus, it leads to concentration. And when you develop the ability of sustained concentration, it leads to absorption, which in Hindi is called samadhi.
Okay. So,
Right? It's a journey. Now, visualize yourself being absorbed totally in what you're doing. What would the result be?
I probably do what I'm doing very, very well, make the right decision.
Exactly.
Right.
So, this is the human potential part. Well, obviously, it's not that simple.
Right.
There are other tools and techniques also.
Right.
Okay. Now, don't we often say we can't rely on that person? There's no consistency in that person or in that woman.
I know lots of people like that.
And there are lots of people.
Yeah.
So the practice of mindfulness helps you to develop that consistency.
We had spoken earlier and you had described a breathing exercise. I had a question about mindfulness in terms of being in the present moment and being in the now as it's being marketed. What do you have a technique for that as well? Where like let's say my mind's shifting from the past to the future, to the past to the future, and I'm very rarely in the now. Oh, a person like that, what can you do to be more in the now?
But first of all, we got to realize that our mind shifts nowhere.
Okay, our attention, I mean.
Our mind is stationary.
Right.
What is shifting is our attention.
Sure.
Right? And science says 47.9% times our attention is not in our body.
Right.
Okay. The science also says if we start focusing on our breath or we start developing our attention muscle within 4 days, new neural pathways start developing. And as you keep progressing, right, you start managing your attention the way you want. And once you start doing that, focusing your attention, you say, I got a solid focus. And that thing automatically, goes to the next level, that is focus. Which is, sorry, my mistake, which is concentration, which automatically goes to the absorption. Tell me one thing, Dhoni, Virat Kohli, batting on a pitch of 22 yards, a ball which is, could be what, 4 inches or 3.5 inches in dia, coming at a speed of 140 kilometers, and still they are in a position to hit a six. How? Because of their ability to concentrate and get absorbed in that situation where a ball at 140 kilometers looks like a football to them.
Well, also, I'm sure lots and hours of practice had something to do with it.
Practice what?
Well, the practice in the nets and all of that, right? Like,
Do you know one thing? I'm forgetting the name of the swimmer. Probably it was Philip or something, the guy.
Michael Phelps?
I think so. You know what he said? I practiced more outside the swimming pool than what I practiced inside the swimming pool. Another golfer said that, look, I practiced 100 times the shot in my mind and 10 times on the golf course.
But
So it's not the physical practice. The physical practice has to be combined with your mental practice so that your mind is comfortable in that situation. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, they stay aligned. They are not thrown out of gear. When I go to speak, I usually land up half an hour early or minimum 15 minutes to hey. but I land up half an hour early. Why? I go there and sit in the hall, talk to people, look at the stage, and allow everything to seep into me.
Acclimatize yourself with that.
Acclimatize myself. So when my name is announced and I go on stage, everything is familiar. I know everything. It looks to me as if I've been here a number of times.
Right. And then because of that, your performance is better.
Because of that, my performance is better. So, anyway, coming back to the human potential part. So, yes, the biggest boon of nature given to mankind is his or her ability to be aware of their awareness, be able to think of their thinking,
This is something animals can't do.
something which animals cannot do. And when they do it with all the right intentions, right purpose, they automatically move to the next level. It is something like this. There's a 10-story building. You're standing on the ground floor. What is your reality? Whatever you are seeing within the compound wall, that is your reality. You don't know what's happening outside. Now you go to the second floor. The first reality does not become a lie. It still remains reality.
First floor is still first floor.
But the percentage of influence reduces because you're seeing beyond the fence. And you know what are the forces beyond the fence which are impacting the activities inside the fence. Now let's go up further. Sixth floor. Now you're seeing still further. So the third circle has come in. Now you know what is the force which is coming in, how it is managing, transforming, how is it striking the fence, and what is happening inside. And now you go to the top floor. Huge.
Right.
And this is exactly what Steve Jobs has said. He said, our mind is absolutely restless, and the more you try to put it to calm, it becomes all the more restless.
Right.
But in case you keep trying, you keep doing with the right intent, ultimately it calms down. And when it calms down, it opens a lot of opportunities, a lot of expanse
Right.
to it. And he credits his expansion, his innovation, his growth, his success to meditation. He was a meditator.
Yes.
Okay.
He even spent time in India.
Yes, he did. The other guy, Ray Dalio, the hedge fund guy, he says, meditation is a must for my people because to survive and grow in an environment like Wall Street
Yes.
is not easy,
Especially nowadays. Oh my God.
right? So, therefore, to take the right decisions, we need to keep our mind in check. So, and if your mind is in check, the world is yours because the mind is a field of duality. Unchecked mind would cut right through you. A checked mind or tamed mind would cut for you.
So far, what you've mentioned is about the breathing, focus on the breath. Is there anything beyond that in terms of technique that you teach or practice yourself? Or
Okay, there are quite a few techniques which I use.
okay,
I also use a lot of science. I also use a lot of NLP. I also use a lot of other techniques,
sure,
but they are case specific.
sure, okay,
You see, I do not believe that one size fits all. What might suit you might not suit him, and what might suit him might not suit her. You see, because once you reach a particular level, let me share one thing more with you. A body speaks very loudly.
Right.
Our soul also speaks, but very softly. The voice of the soul is usually drowned in the noise created by the body. As we progress on this journey, we become more and more mindful, focused, concentrative, and absorbed. We start hearing the sound and the voice of the soul. The voice of the body is limited by our biological age. The voice of the soul is not limited by the biological age, it is limited by the age of our soul energy, which is definitely much, much, much larger
Sure.
than the biological age. So the wisdom you get from the soul is something very different. That,
So, how do you tap into listening to the soul? Meditation, awareness, I suppose.
well, there are certain techniques.
Okay.
The journaling is there. There are certain other techniques.
Yeah.
You see, so you start doing that over a period of time, you start realizing. To give you a very small example, so we are going out, it's a good sunshine, bright day. You get an urge, I should carry an umbrella. You go out, have a look, you say, it's very sunny. There's no need for an umbrella, and you go. You walk out without an umbrella, and after half an hour, there's a downpour and you get wet. Now, this was the voice of your soul telling you, Vivek, please carry an umbrella. Now, if you document this thing, you see, regularly, so you come to know that, okay, these voices were real voices. They were predicting my future, or they were trying to save me of certain incidents. Then automatically you start having faith in them. And the more faith you show in them, the more respect you show to it, it becomes all the more louder. Now, you might find it very funny, but no, it happens that way, Vivek.
No, I believe it. So, I'm involved in a startup, as we mentioned, and this channel is business and startup oriented. How would someone in a fairly stressful situation, which is what startups generally are, use this to his advantage? You've already mentioned the breathing and meditation. Do you have anything to say in terms of someone in that specific environment? Anything?
Yes, I would like to give my personal formula, AOPA.
Okay.
A stands for attention management, about which I've been talking quite a bit.
Okay.
O stands for observation. We have a tendency to observe what's happening outside us.
Right.
We usually do not observe what's happening inside us.
Right.
So develop the habit to observe what is happening inside you and outside you. Okay. Now, attention management, the ability to be mindful, is the prerequisite.
Right. Because if you don't have that, you can't do the inner observation.
Okay. Now, if you see, whenever you get angry, does the anger burst out externally, or there's a churning inside? I'm asking you, Vivek.
Right. There's a churning inside.
There's a churning inside. Similarly, when you're happy, there's a pleasantness inside, and then you express it.
Right.
Now, again, if you start observing, or there's a churning inside, it will say, you are going to get angry.
So how to get rid of that churning?
Come to that.
Right.
The third step, which is pause. AOPA, pause, is the answer to your question, how to get rid of it. Let's assume there's one page in a book, all spaces within the words are removed, all words are fused with each other. Would it be convenient for you to read? Obviously not. It's meaningless.
Sure.
Pause gives meaning to the meaningless. Okay. Now, the external stimulus which comes in is transmitted to two parts of our brain, the emotional brain and the prefrontal cortex. The speed of transmission to the emotional brain is a fraction of a second faster. The emotional brain is all about keeping us safe. and it knows only three things: fight, flight, or freeze. Now, if we are mindful and we learn to put our finger on that fraction of a second, that is internal churning and external manifestation or the external expression, the emotional brain fails to take you over. And the stimulus is passed to the prefrontal cortex, which is your executive brain, the decision making brain. And then you say, okay, this man is coming or this woman is coming. We did have a fight, but that was 20 years back. 20 years have lapsed. I'm sure she must have changed, or he must have changed. Let me meet them.
Or at the very least, you don't get into that anger. You can just choose to
Right.
not even meet them, but you don't
Huh.
get angry.
This is just an example, right?
Right.
We've done the pause, right? Acceptance.
But one quick question is, particularly the earlier example of anger that we were using, it's very difficult to pause that because it just kind of explodes, right? And so how do you do that pause?
Okay. I'm a very weak person. I can hardly lift 10 kgs,
Okay.
right? I have a task to lift 100 kgs. What do? I go to the gym and start working on my body.
Okay.
From 10, I migrate to 15. From 15, I migrate to 20, 25, 40, 50. And one day I'm lifting 100.
Okay. So
It's a gradual process,
gradually.
right? If anyone says there's a magic wand to it, gilly gilly appa, well, probably it doesn't work that way. And the last and the mother of all the three
Yes.
is acceptance. Because usually we do accept and then we take pride, we did accept. But the way we accept, we shift the focus, we shift the goalpost from the event to the excuse.
So my one clarification I want is acceptance of what? The situation that's making you angry, or just even the anger inside you?
Both.
Both.
Both. Now let's talk of the situation. Okay, let me share a case.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
Beautiful.
there was one lady, her daughter was with me in school, and this lady would say, my daughter is going to top, my daughter is going to top. Like parents, and typical intelligent parents.
Hmm.
The daughter barely managed to pass. So we were kids, So just to poke her, hey aunt, what is Alka's result? So, so she would say, yes, Alka did not top. I know. But she was sick that day, right? She accepted, still not accepted.
Right.
Because she accepted, Alka did not talk, she couldn't lie, but then she shifted the goalpost from why did Alka not talk to she was sick with a justification.
Right.
So that is no way of acceptance.
Yeah, that's not true acceptance.
That is not true. So accept reality as it is. You start doing these four things, you'll find a sea change in the way you think, in the way you perceive, in the way you decide, in the way you move forward and make a success out of you.
So that was for the entrepreneurs, the startup people. I suppose that's what you do because in the entrepreneur world, all the time some some challenge is happening, something went wrong. This is over budget. You're lacking funds. So does this technique work? That's what an entrepreneur should do every time. This AOPA.
AOPA, you see, it becomes reflexive once you start practicing. And let me add an interesting thing to it. You see, your personal life and your business life are no different. There are challenges at both accounts, and the method to handle them is the same. Only the context changes. In your personal life, you want to buy something, you don't have money. In the entrepreneur life, you want to expand, you don't have money. In your personal life, your relations or friends are not listening to you. In your entrepreneurial life, you're finding it difficult to control your
Right.
stuff.
There's like challenges from all sides.
Challenges are from all sides. There's no difference. So this very China wall, entrepreneurial or personal,
Oh,
is again a myth,
okay.
because you are the same person who's wearing various hats, who
Right.
is the entrepreneur as well as a husband, father, mother, daughter, whatever it is. So only the nature of the episode is changing,
Mm.
but the content of the episode is the same. Or let me put it this way:
Right.
only the packaging of the episode is
Right.
changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting question. What you've probably met with lots of people, probably CEOs, leaders. What do the leaders typically get wrong? Do wrong because they've become leaders, so they did something right. But what do you see some commonality in the CEO leader types that this is? If you could say both ways, what do they get right? What do they do wrong?
Okay, I'll divide them in two categories. One are the visionary human, your humane leaders like Ratan Tata, Anand Mahindra, right? They are the humane,
Right.
visionary leaders. What they get right and what is their real strength is the ability to take people along with them. It is their ability to inspire, to influence, and motivate, and keep the flock together and take it forward towards a common goal. It is their ability to help their people to focus on their strengths. So the weaknesses of the personal weaknesses and the organizational weaknesses become insignificant. That is one category. The other category are leaders who have reached the top, could be any way, could be politics,
Right.
could be manipulation, or
Sure.
just could be sheer luck,
Right.
or could be by seniority,
Right.
right?
You're just there long enough.
They've been there long enough. Now, usually I've seen such kind of people, they develop a sense of ego. I know all. You see, and this attitude, I know all, creates a divide in their organization. People will still come and work because they are looking forward to their salary check,
Right.
right? And certain organizations are so big that even to fall completely, it will take a number of years. But the growth stops of such organizations unless it's transactional. There's something which the society needs, and there's no alternative. And the best example is uh, Satyam.
Yes.
It's a beautiful example. Earlier management, a beautiful company goes down the drain because that gentleman, gave more importance to his personal interests rather than the organizational interest. Anand Mahindra comes in. Same set of people, same resources, same machinery, same clients. The company grows. Why? The culture which Anand Mahindra got into the organization. Now there could be a number of reasons for the culture
Right.
going bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's transition a little bit more in your towards. You could even say you're kind of a one man business, an entrepreneur yourself with your coaching and training and so on. How do you market yourself?
Well, through podcasts, through write-ups, through speaking, and I've been in business long enough. People know me.
Right.
So
Context. Do you do much social media marketing and that?
honestly, I was quite lazy in social media marketing, being the old school
Right.
mindset, and I was very laid back during the COVID period. It will pass. It's only much later I realized that no, COVID has changed everything.
Right.
I can't be my old self, so yes, I am on social media, very active on LinkedIn. I got a team which supports me.
Great, great. Do you see this S.H.E evolving in the future, or
I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful since it's driven by the Indian philosophy. Probably the Indians might not really look up to it because they might feel that they know it all. but but the feedback which I'm getting from the West is
yeah,
extremely encouraging.
that's good. I'll just throw this in, just as a almost anecdotal. I've experienced life both countries. Indians are very resistant to change. I'd say probably in the entire world most resistant to change. Americans are the most adaptable and willing to change. Another thing I've noticed what Indians do is they will not admit their mistake. They'll make a mistake, but then like that example you gave of the daughter, oh, she was sick that day or some, it's not my fault. It's his fault, her fault, his fault, but
Exactly.
not my fault. Whereas even Americans are not that easily this thing, but they're much more this thing. If they made a mistake, they just okay, yeah, I screwed up. Is usually what they say. So I was wondering why that is. Why are Indians like this? Do you have a theory? And
Well, I do have a theory. You see, Indians, you'll be surprised, India has never lost a war historically. We have been
Okay.
captured. We have been captured and ruled by the invaders
right,
through deceit. Someone within our own family
betrayed,
betrayed us.
but we never lost to like a fair fight.
We never lost a fair fight. And even in the case of Ramayana,
Hmm.
it was Vibhishan who betrayed
Raman.
Ravan.
Yeah.
And Ramayana was written by an Indian. So the Indian mindset got reflected over there. So, number one, you got to be cautious. Indians by nature are very cautious.
Yes, yes. So that's why they change. They're not.
Number two, they're very argumentative.
Yes. But why are they argumentative?
I think the socio-political culture of India, and number two, the debating mechanism which existed in the olden age, where the two pundits or the two evolved personalities would sit in front of each other and the kings would make them argue, right?
Right.
And they would get into that argumentative battle, I am superior, because that, made them the head priest or something or the other in the kingdom.
Got it. Okay.
So all things have percolated down.
Okay.
You see, and if you look at the saints, you'll never find them sitting and arguing in a king's court. You can go through the Puranas, you could go through all the fables and stories and whatnot. Like Parshuram, Vishwamitra, right? You don't find them sitting at the feet of the kings
Right.
and arguing or debating. They came, gave instructions, and went away. So I think it's the socio-cultural
Okay.
evolution of the Indian society in the olden days, which has percolated, and India has been a feudal country
Yeah.
till 1947. So I think this is all historical
Right.
and
Just kind of
Yeah.
centuries of habit, you could say.
centuries of habit.
I'm curious about, or rather, let me say, I think you've read a lot. Probably a very well-read person, read numerous books across all genres. I was wondering what works of literature struck you the most.
First of all, I would like to confess, I'm not a very well-read man. Books like Jonathan Livingston Seagull,
Okay.
Richard Bash, that's my favorite. It's a beautiful satire on society.
Okay. I haven't read it myself, but I'll
But
give
you
it a
should,
look.
you should,
I'll give
you
it a
should.
look. Yeah.
Right? A simple book like Who Moved My Cheese? You see, these books are which talk of life because I believe in one philosophy Any knowledge, any philosophy, any tradition, any religion which cannot improve human life is meaningless.
Okay.
You see, so for me, the acid test is whatever I'm saying or whatever I'm reading, is it going to help me to improve my life and the life of others? If yes, I absorb it. If no, it goes into my memory. That's it.
That's it. Wonderful. Well, we're running out of time. So, do you have any last words of advice for our viewers?
Well, I'll only say one thing. Please practice these two things. One is AOPA, and the other thing is FACES. FACES. Now, let me, uh, what word should I use? Uh,
Expand the
expand.
abbreviation.
Let me expand the acronym. Right. Thank you, Vivek. Yes. F is for flexibility. A is for adaptability. C is for coherence. E is for energy, and S is for stability. Bring these five things in your purpose, thoughts, and actions. And when it comes to action, apply AOPA, that is attention management, observation, pause, and acceptance, as is, where is, basis, without any riders. And I'm sure you'll find a change in the way you think, in the way you perceive, in the way you decide, and the way you act, and the way you live.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sandeep, for all of that, all the valuable advice. I'm sure the viewers got a lot of useful information from all of that. Sandeep's information is going to be in the description below, and please comment on the podcast, and let's have a lively discussion around it. So, thanks a lot. See you all later. Thank you,
Thank
Sandeep.
you.